You like my happy version of Auld Lang Syne?
Yeah, I was getting a little tired of the old one. It's a little too depressing.
Yeah, I agree. Anyway, welcome to episode 36 of Bonus Features with Alex and Robert. I'm Alex.
And I'm Robert.
And, this is our last podcast of the year. Or technically the first, because by the time this will be released, it'll be a new year, 2019. So, I guess, happy end of the year, 2018, and happy new year, 2019.
We hope it's a good one.
Indeed. We will go over what we hope to see out of 2019. But first, our pointless 2-minute interlude about sports. So, I'll start with some Christmas Day NBA.
Oh, yeah.
I watched pretty much all 3 games.
Yeah, man.
Sort of not paying attention, on and off.
The big one was the LeBron game.
The LeBrons, they triumphed.
the Los Angeles LeBrons.
Yes. The LeBrons of Los Angeles. They came up on top.
Yeah, that's pretty wacky.
Beat the Warriors pretty soundly. Was it a 20-point victory?
It's been a weird year for the Warriors. They've been kind of off and on, but...
Good. I hope they lose. Hope they lose a lot more.
My money's still on them to win.
Yeah. Well, it'd be nice if someone in the East could actually give them a challenge.
Maybe the Lakers will be that team.
Well, but they're in the West.
Oh, you mean? Oh, I see what you mean. Well, that's the other thing that I have a problem.
Oh, you're saying you wish someone would beat them before they even
in the West, not the East.
Well, that's the more likely.
Knock them out.
I feel like that's the more likely scenario.
Maybe the Lakers will be that team to knock them out in the Western contention.
That would be great. And then let's see, Bears.
Yes.
We didn't address this, but bear down. I know this is late to the party news, obviously, especially by the time this comes out.
Yeah.
But beat the Packers. Mm-hmm. What a game.
Clinched the NFC North at home.
Yeah, it doesn't get much better than that.
We got a pretty decisive game coming up here. If we win against the Vikings, which at the time of listening to this podcast, you'll know if they have or haven't, they will have knocked the Vikings out of the playoffs. But if they lose to the Vikings, they will have to play the Vikings in the NFC Championship or the NFC playoff game, which I don't like because I don't like playing the same team 3 times.
I don't really like that either because that just seems like, why not win this one?
Mm-hmm. Now, granted...
But I think we're just a much better team either way.
Yeah.
Well,
we
at
are
least
playing them at home, or
at
we're
least
playing them in Minnesota, which sucks, but we'd be able to get them at home at Soldier Field if we played them the third time.
If we had to play them again, yeah.
But I don't want to do that either. But whatever. It's, I'm just glad we're a winning team this year. We got 11 wins.
Got the Mac Attack.
We're a good team.
Hakeem killing it.
It's just,
Tariq Cohen is the Swiss Army knife of running backs. He does it all. Throws, catches, runs.
Mm-hmm. And Mitch is pretty much kind of inarguably the best quarterback in the history of the franchise already.
I you know what? I'm not impressed.
That's saying how shitty quarterbacks have been.
Yeah.
For this team.
Well, it's like I keep saying, maybe he isn't the most accurate thrower, but he's got that option run.
No, he's great.
Which is actually kind of a huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
Some franchises love their option run.
Mm-hmm.
What's it called? Back in the day when Tebow, before he was done, he had that. They didn't win the Super Bowl, but they got decently far in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think they lost one year to one of the unbeatable unbeatable Patriots teams or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Dak Prescott, he's still run the option.
He does. A lot of quarterbacks that do. Russell Wilson still does. It works.
Well, Russell Wilson's kind of the standout in that he's shown longevity in it.
Yeah. When then you got you guys like Cam Newton. It's like, I don't care if I get shot in the head while I'm fucking running through the damn pocket. It's like I'll get there. I'll break the line of scrimmage. That dude is a freaking horse, man.
So I'm saying it can work. It's just sometimes the issue is longevity. People get figured like Tebow got figured out and now he's not playing. But Dak Prescott, he's still making it work, and we'll see in the playoffs. And maybe we'll meet the Cowboys down the line.
That would be that'd be interesting.
I think that's unlikely, though. I have a feeling they'll probably lose their first game. I don't know why. Mm-hmm. Who would they play? The Saints or someone?
Either them or, probably them or the Rams. I think.
Okay, and I think both
they're going to play a
team. Both of them would murder them.
Well, they beat the Saints this year once.
Did they?
The Cowboys did.
I don't remember that. Man.
At least I think so.
All right, hold on.
Yeah, it was 13-10.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it could be. It's up for grabs.
Yeah, the NFC race sure is interesting. And then it's basically the Patriots and the... Well, no, actually, that's not even true at all. You've got... Actually, what's it called? The AFC is pretty close. You got the
Chiefs. You got
Chiefs,
some
Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
Man. Actually, this will be a very interesting playoff picture in general.
It's good to have some new faces here, you know?
Yeah.
And good to not have the Packers involved.
Yeah.
For once.
That's right.
It's a joke, but...
Let's see.
I mean, come on, man.
Hawks beat the Wild, so no matter how bad we are, we always beat the Wild.
That's good.
That's fun stuff.
That's good.
Pretty decisive victory.
Really?
I can't remember the exact score. I think it was like 4-1, 5-2.
Okay.
I think we got at least one or two empty netters. Sauter got a couple. Kaner got a couple.
Nice.
Dubnyk, man, did he let in some soft goals.
Really?
I think at least there were two where you hear the announcer say, "Oh, that's one you want your goaltender to stop," or "That's one he wishes he could have back." Mm-hmm. There's one. It was like a regular wrister. He saw it the whole way, just did not get up on the post, and it went through. And I thought, man, that I was just sitting there thinking, you got to stop that, man.
Yeesh.
But I'll take it.
Yeah, a win is a win.
Win is a win, and a loss is a loss, and a bat is a bat, even if it's flat. Remember that old commercial?
I do remember that.
It's good stuff.
Oh man.
YouTube that if you haven't seen it, people.
I think that'll do it for sports otherwise.
Yeah, pretty much. So we have a lot to discuss with 2018 wrapping up and 2019 starting. So instead of news, we're just going to give you some trailers that we suggest you check out. First, we've got the Hellboy trailer. Then we got a trailer for this crazy looking movie called Braid. And then finally for the new Don Cheadle series called Black Monday, which will be airing on Showtime. So I guess that's news, essentially. Now we move on to our reviews. So, really, we only have one review this time. So now that the holiday season is over, we've stopped watching Christmas movies.
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. So now we've moved back to regular movies in the theaters. We saw DC's latest superhero film, Aquaman.
Yes, Aquaman.
Sure. Anyway, so DC has had a pattern. You've noticed this. It's that the solo hero movies tend to be, for the most part, fine. And that the team-ups are the ones they have trouble with. Mm-hmm. And since we're the only two people on Earth who like Man of Steel, this movie has made them 3 for 3 on solo hero movies.
That it has.
And it has been, I guess, for lack of a... Well, if we're talking extremes, let's just call it 0 for 3 on team movies. Mm-hmm. So, what made this work?
I would say... What made it work? I would say the world. If there's anything about this... Well, the world and James Wan paired with it. Shout out to James Wan, man. Like, the guy knows how to make an action movie, and the guy knows how to make a movie with fantastical shit, and he knows how to make it seem real. Be that, kind of in a existential way or in a visual way.
Right.
Like, this is probably the best... this is the best Atlantis I've seen in a movie.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I mean, like, I haven't seen Atlantis: The Lost Empire in a while, but, like...
This is far more expansive than any Atlantis.
Yeah.
In addition to being probably... I guess I'd agree with you. It's probably the best depiction I've seen. But
right.
It's the biggest.
And, there's just so much on a technical standpoint of this movie that works. The effects, be it visual or artificial or practical, what do you call it? The fighting, the choreography, the set piece work, the set design work, the costume design work.
That was something that really stood out to me. Was particularly the costume design was unreal.
Especially like they made it accurate to the comics without making it, at least for me, seem silly.
Yeah,
like they had that fucking suit on the poster for Aquaman. It's like that's the suit, but it's like not matte. It's like armor, like plating. Like looks like mail. Oh, it's so fucking cool. But there's that, and I would say aside from that, Jason Momoa.
Yeah,
like this guy's just like a likable dude, and I would see him in anything.
Yeah, he's got one of those good action star personalities.
Yeah.
He just kind of fits into the role, and he's not trying too hard to take it too seriously.
You can tell he's having fun.
Yeah.
He loves his character.
I think that's important with action roles, obviously.
Mm-hmm. He's a guy where I'm glad. I look at the box office numbers that this movie is making, and I'm like, you know what? Good for you. I'm like, you deserve this because you're a good guy. Like, you've been relegated to just, like, playing big, dumb, like, baddies or, like, big, like, you know, stupid, like, ogre people for, like, your entire career. And it's like, now you get to be the fucking hero, and you get to show everybody, like, nah, man, I just want to kick some ass and be the good guy this time. And he does, and he's very heroic. I buy him as Arthur Curry.
Yeah, I do too. He pretty much fits the role perfectly.
He really does.
There's not a whole lot. I mean, Aquaman, let's be real, it's not really that hard of a character to begin with. Mm-hmm. But he does what he can to make it a sort of a, I don't know, like have more personality.
Right. Yeah, and I thought that it was an interesting interpretation because normally the Aquaman that I grew up with was the Aquaman who was more...
He's almost like too stoic sometimes.
Yeah, or the Aquaman who's more accustomed to undersea life, like the Justice League Aquaman who's like, fuck land people, you know?
Yeah.
And like this Aquaman is like, no, man, like I grew up on land, you know? Like me and my dad were real cool, and it was interesting to see that interpretation of like the Arthur Curry who's unaware of the Atlantean, you know, whole spiel.
Right.
So that was interesting, and I really liked all the Atlantis stuff was great. Like, I loved Volko, I loved Mara, I loved the politics and seeing, like, fucking what's-his-name, Orm, like, being a piece of shit and, like, using, like...
That was almost something I thought I had kind of had a problem with.
What's that?
I feel like Patrick Wilson was just doing a way better job than everyone else.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, man, I thought
he was taking it, like, he was taking it, that role, and he took it, I don't want to say too seriously, but I feel like people weren't matching him.
I felt like
there was a few.
It felt like what's her name in Power Rangers, Elizabeth Banks. Felt like Rita Repulsa.
No, I would say it's like the opposite. She was cheesing it up there.
See, I thought he was cheesing it up a little bit, like with some, like when he was addressing the crowd.
Yeah,
he was like, okay, man.
You know what? Point taken.
I was like, Patrick. Okay, it's a good take. Next time, let's do it. Let's do that as if you were a person.
It's like let's not try and imitate the '80s hit song Tarzan Boy. Yeah.
The fucking when I always hear that song, I think of fucking Chris Farley when they're on the palm trees in Beverly Hills Ninja.
Well, I'm going to have to disagree with you and say that I think of the classic Ninja Turtles 3.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Okay, but back to Aquaman.
But yeah, Patrick Wilson. I mean, it cracked me up. You know, it's not supposed to be taken seriously.
I get that, but and yes, you know, point taken about the George of the Jungle yell. But other than that, I felt like there's times where I heard people say lines and it sort of took me out of it, and I thought, yeah, this is definitely fantasy. Definitely fake as shit. It's awesome, but there's some lines where I'm not buying that. You know, I guess some of the lines are kind of hard to. That's the one thing I'll give them, you know, some leeway on. I feel like lines for this movie would be really hard to deliver.
Yeah,
because
some of them.
It's essentially, if we're talking ridiculous levels, what's probably the most fantastical Marvel movie? Probably Thor. Because of Asgard.
Thor or like Doctor Strange or Guardians-ish.
Not even Doctor Strange, because you can just kind of copy the template of Harry Potter. And
yeah.
You know. Mm-hmm. And plus, Doctor Strange is such a counterpoint to everything they do.
Yeah, he's the Scott Calvin in that world, if you will.
Yes, he is that's what I mean. He's sort of the like the way he views the world is sort of the antithesis of the way they view it.
Yeah, he's like the audience.
Yeah, exactly. And this kind of didn't have that. Mm-hmm. And I think that was like a minor problem I had, because it's basically like this is Thor underwater.
Pretty much.
So this is about as ridiculous as it gets.
Yep.
So I thought they could have used a little more counterpoint here or there. Mm-hmm. If we're talking a little bit of the negatives.
Yeah, and it gets super silly, and like there's one line in the beginning.
Like there's some mirror lines where it's like you have to get the golden goblet of hell, and I'm like, just do something else. I'm not buying this part.
The scene in the beginning, and this isn't a spoiler. It involves Black Manta's origin.
Yeah,
Black Manta and his dad, and like there's two lines in there where I'm like, oh man, and I was laughing. Like it's cheesy as hell and bad, but like I was like, I think they're self-aware. I'm like, now Robert, remember the man directed Furious 7. So
okay.
I'm like, okay, so I think he's playing with this a little bit. But like the one line where he's like, he's talking to his dad, and like the dad, Black Manta's dad, is like, you gotta go up there and kill that son of a bitch. And then like,
but that was a very Fast and Furious line.
And then like his dad's like telling him to go away and like go without him, and like Black Manta's like, damn you! And I'm like, oh man, this fucking movie is this is great.
Yeah, but see, what I'm saying is other lines aside from those lines. Mm-hmm. The self-awareness, I wasn't really sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't as obvious as a Fast and the Furious, and there wasn't not that they need to make it full-blown comedy, but a little obvious self-awareness could have helped.
I felt like the movie was funniest when it didn't seem like it knew it was being funny, and it was its least funniest when it was trying to be funny.
Yeah, see, that's what I mean. I'm saying they could have used a tiny little punch-up on the comedy bits.
Agreed.
So, fuck it, you just want to do spoilers?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
I'm done. So, firstly, holy visual effects, Batman.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Woo!
As soon as that Atlantean guy breaks through the wall into Arthur Curry's dad's house and they throw down with Nicole Kidman, I'm like, oh, okay.
So this is how it's going to be.
This is what it's going to be like, and it is pretty much. Like, that was the other thing I really liked is like, I don't know if you felt the same way, because some people, I guess, disagreed. I'm like, I was never really bored. It was like, there's a lot of action in this movie.
There's a lot. Okay, I'm going to have to disagree only slightly. There's a couple moments where I thought the pacing was a little long. I think they could have cut out maybe, hate saying this, but maybe 10 minutes.
No, I don't blame you.
Because I hate this notion where I feel like when people are making a blockbuster movie now, well, no one goes to the movie theaters anymore, so we better make it a little longer so it's worth their while. Mm-hmm. So 2 minutes 15 seems to be, 2 hours 15 minutes seems to be the targeted time that a lot of these studios are aiming for when they make these big blockbuster movies. But if you just have an hour 50 of ideas or just 2 flat hours, what's wrong with that? Mm-hmm. I kind of dislike this notion that it has to be longer than necessary. Mm-hmm. And there's a couple scenes, actually, even action scenes, that kind of felt, or not action scenes, but scenes where stuff were happening that I thought could have either been cut or shorter. Mm-hmm. So there was some dialogue parts where they'd be explaining some, trinket or treasure item that they need to collect. And then they'd start explaining it, and I'm just sitting there like, I don't care. It's like the Okama Game Sphere episode of South Park. Mm-hmm. I know you boys want your Game Sphere back, but first I'm going to kill you. But before I do, I'm going to reveal to you my plan. And then Stan and all of them just say, dude, we don't care. I had a little bit of that where I can't... when they go to the desert?
Yeah,
the whole scene was completely pointless.
Yeah.
We need to go to the desert to find this thing. Mm-hmm. And then what do you get when you get to the thing?
They tell you to go somewhere else.
Yeah. What the hell is this? Oh, the princess is in another castle.
Yeah.
This is stupid. This isn't Mario. Mm-hmm. You have to play all the levels.
Right.
And all the levels are fun.
Yeah.
That scene was... I don't even know. That's like a filler... It's a filler scene. Mm-hmm. It didn't feel necessary.
Yeah. I liked... it's kind of a mishmash of a lot of different things. It's like kind of an Indiana Jones movie, but also Thor and a couple other things. That's
what I'm saying is... I think it extended its reach a bit too far on the Indiana Jones at that part. Mm-hmm. Also, I guess I'll just pile on my negatives while I'm at it. There's not a whole lot, and none of these are giant detractors. I'd say the biggest one is probably the Morocco scene, just because that's a whole scene of the movie, and it's decently long.
They're in Morocco? In the desert?
Well, that's where they filmed it.
Oh, okay.
Point is, the desert scene was dumb, and it wasn't that good, and it didn't add anything. Also, this was a shorter scene, thankfully, but there's about a minute and a half where I kind of wanted to barf.
What's that?
The whole "we're falling in love" montage. Oh man, was that was? I'm not lying. That was bad. That was straight up not good.
She's eating the flowers.
Yeah, I thought. It was kind of one of those things where I was thinking to myself, Alex, don't think too hard. But it was one of those things where it made me think, well, hold on. How much do they know about the surface? I thought they know something. Like, I thought they'd know not to eat flowers. I don't know. Again, maybe that's just me being nitpicky, but that's not what I'm talking about. The thing that I stomp my foot down in objection to is just the whole, God, what's that guy who makes all those horrible rom-com movies, Cameron Crowe?
Yeah.
It just felt like one of those movies. This summer, Mira and Arthur. It was just, I hated that whole scene. Luckily, it was not. It was maybe a minute and a half.
And it's followed up with
It's followed up by
maybe one of the best action scenes in the movie.
Well, best action scene on land.
Yes, on land it is.
Yeah, it's followed up by a great action scene. It was just such a welcome interruption. I thought, finally, just punch it now.
How about that part in the action scene, by the way, where the dude's just like running through walls? He's like running through like 50 walls. God, I love that. Imagine pitching that as James Bond and be like, all right, so there's going to be a scene where
here's a storyboard.
Running.
It's like, is this 50 drawings of the same thing? No, they're different houses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God,
that was
awesome.
Cool. Real quick, though, before we continue that, I just wasn't buying the Arthur Mira, love story at all.
Yeah, it wasn't personally, I agree. I didn't find it personally interesting.
It was very 1940s. Oh, I don't like you now, but you'll like me eventually, see?
Yeah. I'm the male lead, see?
Yeah, I'm the male lead, and maybe you don't like me, but eventually you'll grow to love my quirks. Ooh, I don't like you, but I am growing to love your quirks. Yeah, see? Told ya.
Yeah. No, there weren't... I liked both of them individually. It's just like... them
that's
together,
what I'm saying.
It's kind of how I felt about, how I feel about Scott Lang and Hope Van Dyne. It's like,
I was going to say it's very similar. I'm not feeling it. Second movie, a little bit, but...
A little bit more, but still...
Still
nah.
not really.
Yeah, nah.
I don't know. I thought they maybe could have left that open,
for the sequel.
Exactly. Yeah, come on, guys, play the TV game.
Right.
Will they or won't they?
They do leave a lot open for the sequel in this, and that it's like...
Well, that Black Manta just disappears halfway through the movie.
Well, Black Manta disappears, but then he's found.
Yeah.
And then...
Not that I really even minded that, because...
we know we're getting more.
Yeah, we know we're getting more
they're not going to do that
to
to Black Manta. He's like Aquaman's second most important. He's like his Two-Face. It's like they're not going to... Well, they killed Two-Face in The Dark Knight, but still.
Whatever, I know what you're saying.
It's like they're not going to do that to the guy.
Okay.
But even Orm is not dead by the end of the movie. I'm like, huh.
But okay.
What are they going to do with Orm?
So...
Interesting.
Now that... I think I've gotten all the negatives out of the way. Most of them are not huge detractors. Okay, but now we'll move on to positives. Holy shit, the action. Some of the regular fights were good, but not amazing. But the underwater battle sequences, Jesus.
How about that ending underwater war?
Whew, okay. Marvel, DC, Image, Valiant, whoever the hell has movie deals. Third acts. Take notes.
Yeah.
Aquaman. You have... Holy Christ.
How many climaxes?
Jesus. Okay.
Aquaman gets the suit. Yeah. Aquaman... There's a battle. Aquaman's in the battle. There's a Kraken. There's another fight.
you know is the most over-the-top action-y action movie moment ever? When... Ocean Master and Aquaman are swimming at each other, but they have to kill all the shit on the way there. It's like cut to Aquaman. Nah, get out of my way. Nah, hey fella, I got a fella over there to fight. Yeah. Cut to Ocean Master. Nah, see, out of my way. I gotta meet that Aquaman fella. Nah, just punching and killing all these. What the fuck are they? Like giant shrimp or something?
Yeah.
Whatever they are.
Krill or whatever the fuck, some shit.
The trench.
Yeah, the trench. Those
monsters or whatever.
Crabmen.
Yeah. So they're both on the way to each other, just slicing and dicing. And then what do? No. Let's get on top of a submarine and have a Lethal Weapon style pointless one-on-one battle that doesn't entirely make sense but is awesome anyway.
And everybody's going to stop and watch.
Yeah.
They're going to come up from the ocean and watch this. God, that was great.
Got some guys, screaming like it's one of those like underground rings, just like throwing random
weapons and shit.
No, I'm talking about like in like Bloodsport. Like,
throwing shit.
All the dudes are just screaming at each other, like holding wads of cash. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Third act, though. You want to know what's like super impressive about the third act? While I was watching some of the underwater battle sequences, which by the way were fantastic as we've mentioned, but during the big one, I decided to pay extra close attention. I thought, I'm going to pay attention to things in the background, the middle ground, and the foreground just to see how detailed this animation is. At any given time, there's about 20 different moving pieces. Mm-hmm. So there could be the main two monsters, like a seahorse man is fighting a giant crab.
Right.
And then in the way back, there's a ship. But if you pay close attention, it's not like when extras just kind of half-heartedly just parry, thrust, like... Yeah. You know how that is. Like, a lot of times if you pay too close attention to the background, it looks lazy. Mm-hmm. The background in this, everyone's doing very specific stuff. Mm-hmm. In the middle, so you have the seahorse fighting the crab. But in the very background, a ship will be chasing, a couple loose swimming dudes. But it'll do like a loop-de-loop and a barrel roll to chase them. It's very specific. The whole shot is impressive. Mm-hmm. It
felt like a comic book panel.
Yeah, it's unbelievable the amount of work the visual effects people put in this.
Yeah.
And what's even more impressive is this had a relatively smaller budget for a movie this ambitious.
160 to 200, which is a lot, but that's peanuts compared to the 250 plus that Infinity War was, right?
Well, I bet
Wasn't it 400?
I bet you it's more.
I mean, Jesus.
That's what I'm saying.
160 to 200?
The fact that the 160 is even possible.
The low end?
Yeah.
Fuck. That's a lot. That's not a lot of money for what this pulled off.
It's amazing that this didn't cost twice what Avatar did. Mm-hmm. And yeah, there's a couple spots where some of the CGI is just a tiny bit spotty. Mm-hmm. But where it really, really counts, looks amazing. And honestly, this is going to sound weird, but kind of like how I felt about Mad Max Fury Road and that I thought the cars were the real stars. Mm-hmm. The visual effects artists, hats off to them.
Yeah.
Like
this movie wouldn't work without them.
Not only would it not work, but they're the real stars in a weird way. Mm-hmm. They made this completely fantastic looking. You want to talk about production design altogether, costumes, also another very important element. Costumes, visual effects, set design, production design. The whole look of this world was unbelievable.
The vision, man. I gotta applaud James Wan here for starting off as the guy who directed Saw, this low budget indie-ish horror movie, to going from that to being the guy who made fucking Furious 7 and making Aquaman, like two of like the more like better action oriented movies I've seen in a while.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty crazy. And there's definitely some James Wan stamps on this. Like there's a lot of like weird camera tilting and like camera like circling around action scenes type stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, this is just holy shit. An action movie where you get a wide shot of people punching each other.
Yeah.
And like you can see every
How about
move.
you get a wide shot of great white sharks charging at seahorses?
Yeah.
I gotta say,
Exactly.
as a huge dork when it comes to loving like oceanic creatures and stuff and just being obsessed with sharks and shit, this was my kind of movie. Because you had every type of oceanic animal imaginable in this. You had the giant seahorses, you had crab monsters, you had like weird sort of, what the fuck were they? The ones that were afraid of the fire.
Oh, yeah. I don't
Those
even know
were
what
cool.
you call those.
Yeah. Whatever. Frog monsters, whatever the hell.
Amphibious creatures.
Yeah, you had every type of creature. Sharks and the big kraken thing, who you said was voiced by Julie Andrews.
Julie Andrews. None other than Julie Andrews is in this.
Yeah.
That is wacky, man. But you also get some Randall Park in this.
Oh, yeah.
Stephen Shin.
Dude, Randall Park. Come on, guys. We need to get that guy more work.
Yeah, he's a funny dude.
He's really fantastic in everything he's in.
Yeah. Oh, man.
He was funny as hell in this.
Yeah, and I'm hoping he'll be more utilized in the sequel.
Yeah.
What do you think about the sequel? When it happens, because it'll happen.
Well, I can tell you this. Because I enjoyed Atlantis so much and just the whole underwater thing and all the way this looks, which to me, honestly, the cosmetic side, for lack of a better word, it's pretty important with superhero movies. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought the story could have been a little tighter. Maybe the acting wasn't perfect in places, but those were so far outweighed by how good the action side of things were in this. Fuck, man. You could kind of pull a Home Alone on me and I wouldn't care. And by that, I mean do basically the exact same thing again, but just have it be good again and I won't really give a shit.
Yeah. I think this reminds me a lot of like a Black Panther 1 or maybe not a Batman Begins so much, but it's like this was good enough. But it left enough of a gap for me to be like, all right, I can't wait to see how you follow this up because there is room for you to get better. Or like a John Wick 1, where it's like, that was really, really good, but let's see what else you got. You've left enough room for yourself to top yourself. Oh, also Jaimin Hansu.
Yeah.
Gets killed right quick.
That sucked, man. I was real excited, and then he's just barely in it.
Well, we'll see him in Shazam.
Okay. All right.
Double dipping in the DCEU.
Yeah, weird. I was glad to see him. I like that dude and everything he's in.
Yeah, man, I felt bad. Yeah, Orm's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
An asshole.
Yeah, what a jerk. That's Orm's problem. He's a jerk. So the next movie's probably they left it open for Black Manta. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna have different creatures, and Black Manta's the main baddie. Mm-hmm. I just don't think. But how's that gonna be bigger?
I don't know if it'll be bigger so much as maybe it'll just be. I think it could be better. I think if you really fine tune the story and the comedy, I think, and you make. Oh man, I could use some more pugilism. I want to see an even more like dope because that fight scene between Manta and Aquaman is good, but like that motherfucker doesn't stand a chance against Arthur. Like he even gets his shit pushed in like, pretty quick. He gets like thrown off a cliff and fucked up bad. But like it's good. I want to see some more.
That was what it was interesting too. Is it seems like there's always how would you put it in their civvies fight scene.
Yeah.
Because like Winter Soldier had that on the freeway. Mm-hmm. Black Panther had it in the casino in Korea, and this had it in the Italy thing.
Yeah.
Thankfully, right in the nick of the time where I was just about to had enough of that horrible attempt at romance shit. Oh, we're eating roses because get it? We're dumb. What are you also gonna like lick toilet seats because you don't know what they're used for? Like I was getting annoyed. Okay?
Almost. That guy put his head in a toilet bowl. Remember that?
Oh yeah, that's right. Wasn't that none other than Luddy Lin?
I think it was him,
the Black Ranger from the
Power Rangers
reboot, which didn't work out.
No, but it wasn't bad. It was okay.
All right, whatever. You got any other tidbits, comments, qualms, questions?
That scene where Black Manta's chilling on the top of his boat and those dudes come up and like Orm is like bubble version of Orm talking to him. How fucking cool did that scene look? Like the water's like pink and shit. Remember that? It's like all Aurora Borealis like. It's the scene where you find out that Orm is paying Black Manta to make it look like the humans are shitbags.
Oh yeah.
God, I love that scene. I'm like, this is just like color. Oh fuck, it looks so good.
You know what I also thought too? I kind of like that his motivation is pretty simple.
Well,
He's wanted to invade.
he wanted to invade,
you know
and
what?
he's like, I don't like my mom.
Yeah.
Fuck Aquaman.
Yeah.
Like, he's the true king. No, fuck that.
Yeah.
Where was he?
You know what the thing is? You know what this movie didn't have, which almost all superhero movies have? It didn't have the stereotypical doomsday device.
No.
And it's not that that's always bad, it's just it is overused. This is no fuck that. I'm not trying to set off the one end all be all bomb or thing that turns you into mutants or whatever the hell. I just want to invade. Fuck them. I want to invade.
Right.
And I honestly, I thought that made it kind of more enjoyable. It was just nice to see, I just want conquest.
Yeah.
It was pretty simple.
I definitely got Orm. I definitely got him. But
He's just a conniving little bastard.
he's a little brother, man. He's got little man's disease.
He's got little brother syndrome.
Anyway.
Nicole Kidman.
Real good. Oh,
Yeah.
how about some Temuera Morrison, man? Fucking Django Fett.
Django Fett as...
Yeah, as Thomas Curry, Arthur's dad.
Yeah, I was a big fan.
Yeah, it's good to see him getting some work again. But
Wasn't the name dude who played Black Manta?
Yahya Abdul Mateen II.
Okay.
He was good. I
was a big fan of him, and it was one of those things where it's like I kind of wish I saw more of him, but at the same time I understand why we didn't, because it was already, in my opinion, a little too long, and the way they had him in, it's like they had him enough so that he wasn't completely shoehorned. Like he served a purpose, and then I guess they just kind of made him go away.
But we'll be back.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I think I definitely liked him in the role, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more of him.
It's definitely Black Manta.
Well, that's the other thing is he's always kind of, he's one of the few villains where you can sort of sympathize. And that, again, that's kind of, I like those characters. Like, especially Magneto's like that, where it's like you can see his point of view. He's like, I'm sick of being feared and hated. And it's like, yeah, that is pretty shitty. And then...
Tragic backstory, man.
Right. That I like when villains have a dimension of gray to them. So, that covers the villains. Who else was in? Dolph Lundgren, man.
Dolph Lundgren. Good stuff. I mean, everybody is a supporting role. Like, Willem Dafoe is Volko. Good mentor.
He was fine.
Yeah, Dolph Lundgren is Nereus. Nicole Kidman, we mentioned. Yeah, everybody else is good.
Okay, so I guess you got anything else?
No, I think I'm
all right.
Good.
So now we move on to scores. What do you got?
So, this is going to sound a little bit lower than you'd think I'd give.
All right.
But keep in mind the company we're dealing with here.
Okay.
I'd probably give this a 7.
Oh, you make me
but
sick.
But here's the deal. I know, like, you'd say, like, well, Robert, you've been dealing with 7s the whole year. Isn't that a problem? Isn't that like, mediocre? I'm like, no. I think I only needed this movie to be as good as a 7. Because, like, you gotta understand, like, what people think Aquaman is. And, like, people think Aquaman's stupid. And this movie's very silly, yes, but it's making $600 million, and it was watchable and fun. And you know what?
But that's because China probably thought it was about a mermaid.
Yeah, no, it sort of semi is.
No, because it was the Stephen Chow made the movie Mermaid, right?
Yeah. But
this movie is making bank in China, though.
Keep in mind that this is the third highest rated DCEU movie I've ever seen. So, like, when I say it's like 7 is like, for people to think like 7 is mediocre, it's like, no, 7's pretty fucking good. Like, for DCEU, it's pretty good.
But, okay. Well,
I mean, I have some issues. It's very silly. It's a little too long, and it's, I could have, some of the acting and lines and dialogue.
Yeah, there's definitely, like, it was spotty.
Yeah, but I'm not going to not see Aquaman 2. That's why I'm like, you know what? Yeah, this is a good start. Let's see what else you got.
Okay.
So.
All right. I guess I'm not going much higher, but I'm giving this 4 out of 5.
Yeah. I'm there-ish.
Because I have the same reasons. My main reason being there's scenes that need to be cut. I didn't like the B story. Again, there was just certain lines that were spotty. like, so it was Mira. It was so weird. There's times where I'm like, I'm believing this character, and there's times where she was just saying shit, and I'm like, I thought that is just silly. Mm-hmm. I thought I would even say Volko had that problem at times. Like there are some, because I know Willem Dafoe's a good actor. There's some lines I could see the grimace in his face, just struggling to say. It's like, this is so fucking stupid.
This is what is this? A fork?
What the fuck is this? I also like the use of tridents, but again, those little detractors. Holy shit! That third act.
Yeah.
That's how you do a third act battle scene. Mm-hmm. I think that was just entirely more impressive than I ever would have imagined. So, with its impressive third act and an overall pretty impressive movie, we give it our final combined score of 11 out of 15.
All right, so it is right around the end of December, which means it's not just time for New Year's, it's time for best of lists. And we, of course, have our own for the entire year of 2018. We saw a lot of stuff, but now we're here to organize it for you, starting with the biggest surprise and biggest disappointments of the year. So I'm going to start off with my biggest surprise, which for me was a movie I didn't expect to like. I didn't even think it would be enjoyable. I just thought it was going to be a giant cash grab featuring a bunch of properties that everybody liked, all in one format. But it didn't end up being that. And that was Ready Player One for me. I didn't think I would like it. I enjoyed the hell out of it. We've discussed how
I discussed why I'll never see it. And why I literally just don't believe you.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I don't believe me either, but I guess it wasn't that bad.
You know what? Maybe is that on the cables or something for free?
I think it might be on cable. Yeah.
All right, maybe I'll check it out. To me, that one just kills me because just based on the 2.5 paragraphs of the book that I could stomach reading, which was the first page, I just couldn't imagine anything good coming from that book.
It's from what I've heard, it's better than the book, thank God. And I don't want to touch the book because I've had a couple of friends who read it, told me not to, and said the same thing, that the movie's better. So I guess there's that.
So that's your biggest surprise.
Biggest surprise. Yeah. Everything else either met or exceeded my expectations, but not as much.
Okay, so I guess my biggest surprise, I didn't have any like gigantic surprises, but I was a little weary going into Red Sparrow. I wasn't, because I thought, it looks cool because I like spy stuff. I'm a sucker for that. Mm-hmm. But I was actually surprised at how much I liked it.
Me too, a little
because
bit.
I thought that there was a chance it could be boring, and I thought I'd get burned. Because I saw a lot of movies in March, and a lot of them were sort of mediocre. Mm-hmm. And I was worried this was going to be another one. I kind of went to the theater. I figured, fuck it, I'll just watch it. And I was very surprised by the end of it. Not only that, surprised at how much more grounded of a spy movie it was. Because it was not James Bond. It was not Jason Bourne. Or anything of that ilk at all. It was much more cat and mouse sort of. How the hell would you put it?
Like John le Carré type stuff, like Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy type spy stuff?
Yeah, it's about the psychological aspects of spying, and I was surprised at how much I dug that. Mm-hmm. So it was pretty excellent. I remember scoring it a 4 out of 5, I think.
Yeah.
And I stand by that. It was pretty damn good.
That I believe that list, or that movie will show up on another list of mine later.
Okay.
But my biggest disappointment for the year.
Okay, so no disappointments.
Yeah, that's got to go down to Pacific Rim Uprising. I was such a big fan of the first one. It was Rock'em Sock'em Robots, the movie, whatever. But you know what? It was enough character-wise. It was enough of like a good ride for an audience. This just took everything about the first one and shit all over it. In such a mediocre way. Like, it turned one of the best characters in that movie, Charlie Day,
into a villain,
right? Into a villain. It's just stupid. Man. Bad idea.
So what you're saying is it pulled a Transformers and in trying to add too much plot, it actually ruined it. Mm-hmm. Okay.
That it did.
All right. So my biggest disappointment was honestly
Yeah, Jesus.
Because I was so looking forward to that. I've been dying to see more from what's his Jesus Christ. I always get
Gareth
the two guys.
Evans, yeah.
Evans, not Edwards. Yeah. Gareth Evans.
Yeah.
The director of Raid 1 and 2, which I sing the praises of nearly daily. Because I think those are two of the best action movies, not only of the last decade, but ever. Those are fantastic pieces of action cinema / martial arts subgenre. So I was really excited to see how he'd play into another, whatever.
Horror-y, culty.
Sort of horror thriller, with action elements.
Right.
Because I think one thing that does tend to get overlooked in the Raid movies is that the design, the production design, and the suspense and the other elements are still really good. Obviously, the martial arts, and the fight scenes are the standout elements in both.
Right.
But the other things are done particularly well in addition to that. So I was really looking forward to this, and I was just horribly disappointed because it was just so slow and so boring.
Yeah.
And there's just so many problems with the script. And of course, I'm willing to give him another try, obviously.
Yeah.
Because anyone who can make the Raid 1 and 2, you're allowed a miss here and there. Everyone has their misses. Like, even though this was later in career, you ever seen Marnie?
Oh, yeah.
The Hitchcock movie? It's no good.
Yeesh.
But it's, you know what I mean? But you have to think, he also made Psycho, Rear Window, Birds, and a myriad of other fantastic movies. Not that I'm comparing him directly to Hitchcock, but you get the point I'm making.
They're human beings.
Yeah. Like, everyone has a bad movie or two. Arnold Schwarzenegger did Hercules in New York. Just kidding. That's one of the best movies ever made.
Yeah.
In a 2 out of 2 bomb sense. Oof. So that was my biggest disappointment of the year. Just coming off of Raid 2 to that was a steep drop off.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Now moving on to adjusted scores. So
Okay.
I've only got a few. One of them I actually already mentioned on the podcast.
Why don't you explain adjusted scores?
Okay, so sometimes, and we've talked about this a little bit, but we'll think back on a movie that we've previously given a score, and usually we'll think on it and think, that wasn't really as good as we thought it was, and it'll drop in score, What
we're trying to say is sometimes you see a blockbuster that you've been anticipating for a long time, and you lie to yourself about how much you liked it.
And sometimes it'll happen the opposite way, but not as often.
All right, Robert, why don't you get us started?
Was The Predator really a 7 out of 10?
Yeah.
No, that was a fucking 6, and that's my first one.
So, yeah, what made you change your mind? What made you grade down?
Well, it's just, I thought back on it, and I'm like, yeah, it was fun, and yeah, it's a fine action movie, but it's just not a good movie. Like, it's stupid. It's very, very silly, and I thought that just the more I thought on it, I'm like, I don't like a lot of the elements I was kind of iffy on. I kind of fell back on. I was like, all right, what am I talking about? That just sucked.
Yeah.
So that's why I dropped it.
Okay. What you got any others?
I do. I have Ant-Man and the Wasp. I had that as a 7.5 back when we reviewed it. I dropped that down to a 7. I was being generous. It's this is going to sound really fucking biting, but it's kind of run of the mill.
It's very run of the mill.
But it's good. Like, it's a good movie. It's just not very special.
I hear ya.
I think I also Annihilation, I had it either a 7.5 or a 7 3/4. I dropped that to a 7.
Okay.
Like, it's just
makes sense.
There's too many problems with the ending for me to actually give that anything higher than a 7. Like, it's a good watch and it's interesting.
I like the ending.
I mean, like the very, very, very end.
Oh yeah.
With whatever with
spoilers.
The twist. I mean, it's not really that much, but
whatever.
The final twist, I'll say.
The final twist, yeah.
Yeah. And then my final adjusted score is Incredibles 2. I didn't review it here, but I gave it a 7.5.
Yeah, you did.
I did?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
With Hereditary.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Incredibles 2. I gave that a 7.5 then on this podcast.
Yeah.
I drop it to a 7.
Okay.
It's not as good as 1, and I was lying to myself. It may, in fact, be in the category of not really holding a candle to 1.
Yeah. I don't have any graded up
Yeah, me neither.
I mean, that seems to be the running theme of 2018. Mm-hmm. You wanted to like movies more than you really thought about them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you wanted to like movies, but you just weren't honest or whatever.
Right.
I would say the closest would be I rewatched Infinity War, and I'd say I give it the same score, 4 out of 5. But I think I liked it a third viewing around.
Yeah.
Not that that means much. So I guess that doesn't really count. But moving on. I'm downgrading blockers from 1.5 to a 1 because I thought about it. If I hated it that much that I was like yelling at the screen with my friend, thankfully no one empty theater. I had full range to just like add our own riff tracks to this piece of shit. Then how the hell can I give that any 0.5? Yes. Now that I think about it, there's maybe about 4 lines in it total that made me laugh at all. But it's a comedy. Mm-hmm. Any comedy will make me laugh at least that many times. Mm. So I'm not giving it the extra 0.5.
Damn.
It sucks. It's a horrible movie. It was no good. I'll get to. I'll bring that up later. I guess spoilers on my.
On your bottom list?
Yeah, my bottom list.
Oh God. Deadpool.
I don't know what the fuck I gave it. I think I gave it like a 4 or something. Mm-hmm. Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
Totally lying to myself. Because I thought about it, for David Leitch to be directing it, some of the action scenes weren't that much more impressive than if someone else had directed it. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing about that. It's not to say that the action scenes weren't good, but
they weren't good enough.
It's like you're held to a higher standard when you're David Leitch. I expect some of that Atomic Blonde John Wick shit, like something really spectacular. And I thought that by adding the superhero element to it, that it would just make it double fantastic in a way. Mm-hmm. And it kind of dumbed it down almost.
Yeah.
And I just thought about how the whole time loop thing, that really bugs me more than I thought. It just basically makes the whole movie entirely pointless.
Right.
Where he rewinds everything. Or how the hell does he even do that? I can't even remember.
They make a time travel device or whatever the hell thing.
Yeah. And, it just felt like the first one was enough, and it just didn't do anything differently. Mm-hmm. I would say it felt similar to Kick-Ass 2.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like, here's this shocking idea that kind of turns the superhero genre on its head, and it just, the second time around, it just felt unnecessary. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying Deadpool can't be used in some other form. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I need another Deadpool. And it's not that it was a horrible movie, it's just not that good. So it's a 3 out of 5. Mile 22. Downgrading that from 2.5 to 2. Reason, come on, guys. You got Iko Uwais, John Malkovich, Ronda Rousey, who you kill within like 5 minutes of the movie. John Malkovich, who's sorely underused in general. He's just sort of intercut every now and then. Iko Uwais, why would you shaky cam the man's fight scenes? I think that deserves a harsher criticism. Because, yes, the shootout scenes were fine. But then I thought, but literally nothing else was. Spoilers, when he just drone strikes the last bad guy, I thought, why the fuck didn't you do this 100 other places? Yes, I know it was crowded, like some parts, but there's definitely warehouses where just bad guys were, where you could have just drone struck them. It was just dumb.
That's sad.
Yeah, it sucked. The more I thought about it, it's terrible. There's also one part I forgot to mention in the review, where Ronda Rousey's sitting. She just says, he asks her, why do you have a cupcake? She's like, it's my birthday. And he just smacks it on the ground. I didn't know what to make of that, but I thought it was hilarious. But other than that, it sucks. It's just bad.
Damn.
It makes no sense. And the totally forced till next time ending was horseshit. Prayer Before Dawn, 4.5. I drop it to a 4. Mm-hmm. Just because, I know that leg kicks thing. I'm fixated on that. But it also had to do with the fight scenes could have been wider shots. Mm-hmm. I really wish they were a little bit wider. Not that they weren't good, and they didn't shake the cam too much. I just wish the fight scenes were shot with more shots where it's the full body is on screen, where you can see the footwork and everything.
Right, right.
It was just a little too claustrophobic.
I get that.
Still a fantastic movie. Ant-Man, I had a 3.5, dropped to a 3. Same reason as you. It's very run-of-the-mill, and I don't know, I just kind of thought there'd be a couple more fight scenes.
Yeah, there really aren't a whole lot.
Yeah. Solo, I don't know. I can't remember what I gave it, but if I didn't drop it to a 2, it needs to be dropped because
I think you
sucks.
gave it a 2.5 or a 3.
If I gave it a 2.5, then that was too generous because I thought, would I ever want to watch that again, even just on the background? No. And to me, that's one of the main differences, I think, between a 2.5 and a 2, because I could put on Hitman in the background. Why the hell not? You know?
Yeah.
Frankly, yes. Oh, you think Hitman's better than Solo? Yes. Yes, I do. Sicario, I think I gave 3.5. Dropping that to a 3. I guess it was just a difference in what we got versus the expectation of the trailer. That was, I think that was the worst case of that this year, though there were many cases of it.
Oh, yeah.
It just seemed like the whole starting a war over the border thing was going to be more of it rather than Benicio del Toro sneaking out, which was cool. There was a lot of good scenes, but there's just some parts where I'm like, this is too impractical. So that does it for adjusted scores for me.
Alrighty then.
What do we got?
Well, I think we're going to move on to our worst movies of the year, the bottom 5, as it were. I'll start with my 5th worst.
What do you got?
This is not a movie I reviewed. A lot of these are actually movies I didn't review, but Life of the Party, the Melissa McCarthy joint.
Let me guess. Another one of those, oh, I'm so clumsy movies. And then she, like, her chute doesn't open or some shit, and I don't know.
Melissa McCarthy, like...
Is that not the... Like every trailer?
It is. It's just like, oops, I fell in weird CGI, like fast motion. Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
It's the 5th worst for the simple reason that it's a comedy. It's a comedy where I didn't laugh. It didn't make me laugh at all. It's stupid. It's bad. It's not funny. And it's a tired premise. I've seen done better. Cough, Rodney Dangerfield, cough. It sucks. It's my 5th worst. Back to School. Go. Just watch Back to School.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured.
Watch 13. What the fuck is the Chandler Bing one? Matthew Perry one where he's Zac Efron. 17 again. Watch that again. Just fucking What are you doing?
I've never seen that.
You know, sure it's better.
Yeah. So I don't know if my numbers are accurate, but here's just like the 5 worst in some order. I think it's sort of accurate. Anyway, I'll give the honorable mention to Mile 22 because just the more I think about it,
infuriating.
It's infuriating that you have those people together, and this is what you gave me. With Peter Berg, nonetheless, directing.
Yeah, that's not good.
Man, come on, Petey.
Yeah.
I know you can make better movies than this. I know you can.
Got it in you.
Yeah. Anyway, so number 5, I'm going to go with Star Wars. It's
Solo?
Yeah. Solo, A Star Wars Tale.
Yeah.
It's just so contrived. Oh, that's how you met Chewbacca. Oh, that's how you won the Millennium Falcon.
Oh, that's where he got the name Solo.
Oh, honest to fucking God, that's where he got the name Solo. That's probably the worst one. The idea, so that's how you were going to make sure there's no mystery whatsoever, and we've explored every detail of his life, no matter if the audience gives a shit or not. And the lighting, honestly, how the fuck can you have lighting like that in a large budget blockbuster film?
Yeah, it doesn't.
It's
look
inexcusably photographed like ass. So that's my 5th worst. What do you got for 4?
My number 4 is a movie that I believe we did review here. I think Action Point.
Yeah, I remember it got the rare 2 from you, didn't it?
Yeah, this movie sucks ass, and it sucks ass for more reasons than just it's not funny and it's not entertaining. Like, more I thought about it, it's like people died, man. Like in real life, and like they don't make a point to like say like this is based on a true wacky story. It's like they don't do that, thank God. But like, come on, man. Like, people actually did fucking die. Like, God. Like, it's just, but it's also not funny. They waste all the stunts on trying to make a story that isn't interesting. You know, that all the stunts try to serve this story that just is so uninteresting and bad. I feel so bad for Johnny Knoxville because he literally almost killed himself trying to make this. Like, he does all of his projects.
Yeah.
But I don't know what else to say other than I'm going to have to live with the cognitive dissonance that this man almost died trying to make a movie that sucks.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Mm-hmm. But you saved me $10.
Yeah, I got him.
So I guess that there's silver lining for me, but not for Robert.
Yes, I can live my story, live my tale, my cautionary tale, children.
Yeah, but I think that would have really drew my ire just because this year it had some problems. Mm-hmm. So my number 4 worst is Apostle.
Yeah. I
mean, pretty much the reasons I already said in the adjusted scores, but it's just, how could you take a concept on paper that's so interesting and bog it down in, serialized drama format style, boring side plots? She's pregnant. Yeah, back to the cult. I don't like this other guy because I want to be in charge. Yeah, get back to the cult.
You get a weird chicken before the egg scenario here, which is like, was the movie shitty before it went to Netflix, or did Netflix make the movie shittier?
Or here's a better question. Did Netflix just have zero oversight in trying to correct the script and just say, fuck it, let's just shoot it? Mm-hmm. I think that's what it is. Netflix, they really just do not give a shit about story editing at all.
Yeah.
Or rewrites.
Oof.
There's lots of good ideas that always need a little punch up, a little this, a little that. This clearly didn't have that. Mm-hmm. It didn't have anyone saying, well, why don't we get rid of this character? Or why don't we combine these two characters together because they're kind of the same? Mm-hmm. I felt like there's so many first draft problems.
Right.
So, yeah, that's my number 4. What do you got? What are we on?
3 now. Well, okay. Speaking of Netflix, The Princess Switch.
How dare you?
Did not capture the holiday spirit for me. In fact, it captured no spirit. This is a soulless thing. Like, the first 15 minutes, I was like, okay, maybe I'm in for something fun, but
Dude, the attention to detail. She had a hat that said Chicago. Don't you wear a Chicago hat
everywhere.
When you're in Chicago?
Everywhere.
That doesn't have any teams or anything. It just says Chicago. It just says
the logo?
All day. Every day.
Yeah,
so it's just a soul-sucking thing for you.
It struck a real bitching nerve in my fucking soul.
Yeah.
And it just hit me hard. I'm like, ooh, I know what you're trying to do. Because I have that fucking channel, the Ion Hallmark bullshit on in my house. I'm like, I know what you're trying to do, Netflix. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate it. I really hate it. Don't get me going again.
You know what? I won't. I still maintain it's a 1.5 out of 2 bombs.
That's fine. It's definitely bad.
Yeah.
We definitely are.
I think we definitely agree on that.
Yeah.
All right. So my number 3, also mentioned in adjusted scores. Third worst is Blockers, and that's
only the third.
Yeah.
And that's a 1 you gave it.
Trust me, I've got 2 much worse movies.
Holy fuck! Okay.
Because I saw both of them on like iTunes or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So, well, one was an iTunes rental, and I think one was on VOD. Anyway.
So Blockers
sucked. It was just, you had a good idea for a comedy, and then you had to get all like soapboxy at points, and it just felt like it was written by dudes who just haven't met real people. Mm-hmm. I don't know. The characters felt the side characters were just so contrived to the point where it was literally making me fucking lose my mind.
That sucks.
No, it sucked. It just wasn't funny. Mm-hmm. There's just its main problem was the reference-itis.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit! If you're gonna make a joke where you reference something, fine. Like in a scripted movie, fine, reference away, but just do not keep going on and on about it. Mm-hmm. There's a part where they just mention Fast and Furious. It's like a 45-second thing, and it's just like, shut the fuck up and move on.
That That sucks.
It was just shockingly, disappointingly bad.
Damn.
Yeah. So that's my number 3. It sucked.
My number 2 is another movie I didn't review here, and you probably may or may not have ever heard of. It's called Show Dogs.
I heard about that, and I heard it was awful.
Yes, it is. Well, Ludacris once said, "When I move, you move, just like that." Well, Ludacris, I don't know about you, but I won't be starring in this movie anytime soon, because holy fuck, this thing is so goddamn bad. You got to turn in your, like, people have ever been afraid of me at any point in my career card, Ludacris. I'm sorry. Like, you're voicing a Rottweiler that's a cop. It's like, dude, this is just, not only is this like the worst looking thing I've ever seen, but like so many people in this that I once respected as entertainers, like Will Arnett and like Natasha Lyonne and like other like assorted voice actors here and there, Stanley Tucci. I'm like, why the fuck are any of you in this? Not to mention, like, you can look it up. Like, there's a super inflammatory thing that they show kids in this movie where I'm like, they had to edit it out. Like, I won't say it here, but it's like, just look it up. Do a quick Google search. This movie sucks. It's so bad, so bad.
How was the lighting?
You know what? That wasn't as bad. It wasn't as bad as Solo. I could see everything.
How was the editing?
It was excruciatingly clear.
Okay.
I could understand everything going on. Very good use of the Kuleshov rule.
Oh, the Kuleshov effect.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. So that was your number 3, right?
My number 2.
Oh, number 2. Okay, so my number 2... Oh, man. It was really... It was like a 3-way tie almost between Blockers, this, and my number 1. Terminal.
Ooh, yeah.
Holy shit.
We didn't review that, did we? But you said something about it.
No, it's because I couldn't... It would either take me as short as I'm going to review it now or, a 4-part episode. But, oh, man, because... The trailer actually, it done got me. Ooh, what's this mysterious thing? And there's this weird neo-noir sense to it. This whole movie looks like it was shot on sound stages that they just barely bothered to dress up with any sort of real set decorations at all.
Damn.
There's parts where it just straight up looks like they just showed up to set with nothing and just started filming. That's
Really?
number 1. Number 2, the story is just bullshit. Mm-hmm. It's pretty easy to figure out.
Yeah.
Eventually. Yeah. And oh man, I just don't even know how to. It just sucks. You don't like any of the characters. You're not like interested in what's happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just excruciatingly boring too.
It sounded like crap.
Yeah. Well, it's like it turns. Fuck it. Spoilers. No one's gonna see this shit. It turns out like. What's his name? Simon Pegg was her teacher at like a boarding school or an orphanage or something, and he was an abuser. And there's some story about that, and her doppelganger. And I guess that's the big reveal, but they show her throughout the movie, so it's not really that shocking.
Really?
It was just really, really not what it advertised itself as. It sort of, it seemed like, oh, this is a neo-noir, and it sort of turned into, no, it's a shitty sci-fi attempt at neo-noir. It just didn't work in any sense, in any sort of genre sense, and it just tried to be funny. It wasn't funny. It tried to be dramatic. It wasn't dramatic, really. It tried to be noirish. It wasn't noirish. It tried to be sci-fi. It just failed at everything it attempted to do. It sucked.
Well, I can only imagine how bad number 1 is.
Oh. Yeah. All right, so so that leaves you number 1?
My number 1 is another movie I didn't review here because I was afraid of the things I would say. But I'll keep it short here.
Okay.
Unfriended Dark Web.
Man, you saw that. Why?
Yeah. You know what? It wasn't my choice at the movie theater that day.
Okay.
It was the old SOs.
Yeah.
And I regret watching this movie in every way. It's the movie I regret watching the most. It's a horrible time in the theater. Everything that's in the movie, anybody who worked on this movie, they're doing their jobs to serve a purpose that I just find really fucking gross. Like, it's just the movie's just like it's like torture porn. It's just like sadism. It's like, let's just watch these people die. And I'm like you can do that, but don't make the characters likable in any way. Like, at least the first Unfriended had the clear, like, mindset of being like, all right, let's make these characters somewhat guilty of something bad. You know,
Yeah.
but like this is just like, let's just have random people get killed and have the audience watch. And it's like, that's not what the fuck I go to the movies for. Like, give me characters that are shitty that die. You know, like, that's how,
like the cocky blonde guy in the Friday the 13th remake.
Right. It's like,
you're just like, yeah, fuck him, like, when he finally gets it.
Right. And
you're just like, finally. You're like, he was asking, it's like, he needs to get killed by Jason, and then he gets it, and you're like, finally.
Yeah, and this did not do. It just, it felt like everything served a really dark and just murky and unnecessarily bleak purpose, and I hated it. I hated myself for watching it, and it ruined my day.
That's interesting you say that, because that isn't, that isn't even close to what I thought would make it suck. I thought the plot and everything about it would just make it suck enough.
Yeah, it's that too. It's not good, but it's for me it was the place. It was the intention that made me angry. You know, I'm like, fuck you.
Even if that's the intention, I'm sure I could find plenty more to hate about it.
Yeah,
all right.
It's not good.
So my worst movie of the year goes to Dear Dictator.
Oh no.
Holy shit.
Michael Caine, why? Alfred.
Man, I was this is, you know what, fuck it. I maybe this should have been most disappointed. Nah.
Yeah. I mean, you were more looking forward to Apostle than this.
Yeah, I was definitely. This I thought, oh, this looks like a sort of funny, wacky, kooky premise. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll try one of them funny indie pictures. Mm-hmm. Now, I should have known Katie Holmes was probably a red flag. It might not be good.
Ooh.
I mean, I don't really think she's that bad, but
Katie Holmes?
Not really.
She's okay.
She's okay, but I feel like as of lately, she hasn't been picking the best projects, or at least from what I've seen.
Yeah. Well, what was the big problem with this? It just wasn't funny, right?
Well, number one, yeah, I think it was a zero laugh movie. Mm-hmm. Almost.
Jesus.
Almost.
And you said anything will make you laugh.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, even Blockers, which I thought was dog shit, it had 4 or 5 okay lines. Mm-hmm. Even The Family Stone, which is another horrid movie, it has 4 or 5 good lines.
Yeah.
I'm not really that tough of a customer for laughs. Mm-hmm. And this barely had any. And the whole thing that I didn't like is, what is this trying to make a statement? Is it or isn't it? And it kind of went back and forth. She's punk rock, but she wants to hang out with this dictator who's a scumbag. And he's like a dictator from some South American country or some shit. Mm-hmm. And he's ousted. And they try to do the, I'm going to help you pull a coup at your school.
Oh, jeez.
And you know what it was like is, the parents in the what do you call it? Like holiday, like the fucking Hallmark Channel Christmas movies.
Yeah.
There's the parent or the butler who's like helping the kid or some shit. Mm-hmm. That's what this Michael Caine's character is kind of turned into. Mm. This movie sucks so bad I barely remember what happens.
That's no good, man. I'm glad I didn't watch it.
Yeah, it was a shame. And it had the girl from Lady Bird in it, too.
Yeah, Odeya Rush, I think is her name.
Odeya Rush, yeah. So it had her, Michael Caine. I thought this could be cool. Mm-hmm. Thought it could be... the trailer made it look funnier than it was. Mm-hmm. And then it had a bad case of best lines are in the trailer, if there were any good lines.
Yeesh.
And a lot of the comedy was so flat, you couldn't tell if you were supposed to laugh.
Really?
I'm like... Well, there's a part where they're like waterboarding a dude with milk. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I guess this is kind of funny, but it was just not really. I feel like it could have been funnier, mm-hmm. or maybe there's a better take they could have used, but it just came across very flat.
Right.
It sucked. It was a horrible movie.
Well,
it was a definite waste of money, just like Terminal was.
But this was the worst of the year.
Yeah. You know what? And there's a lot of disappointing movies, or movies that kind of fell short of expectations. Mm. It just kind of felt like okay is good enough, mm-hmm. and then there were a few legit turds in the punch bowl.
Right.
So yeah, but This year wasn't all bad.
No, it wasn't.
So now we move on to our top 5.
Best of the year.
Best of the year.
Top 5 best.
All right, so we going 5 backwards again?
Yeah. Do you want to start this time?
All right, I'll start off with some honorable mentions. I'm not going to explain them. I'm just going to name them. Mm-hmm. Halloween, Red Sparrow, Black Panther, Hellfest, Den of Thieves, and Aquaman. No particular order there.
Okay.
Those were all of those are either 3.5s or 4s. And honestly, there are so many movies that were in that range. So even my real 5 and 4, you could almost interchange. Like, they just barely stood out more than the group I just named. So, without further ado, number 5, I have A Prayer Before Dawn. Which, despite my adjusted score for lack of leg kicks and wide shots, it is a brutally unflinching movie. Absolutely, it shakes you to the core.
Yeah.
It's not a happy movie.
No.
At all.
Imagine.
It's a guy in Thai prison who's fighting, quite literally, in the Muay Thai fights for kind of his life in a way. And if I were to sort of sum it up in one catchy little phrase, it's pugilists are people too. But that's this movie in a nutshell. You know, he's got a tough life because he does some drugs after being a sort of washed up Muay Thai guy. Then he has to get off the drugs and survive Thai prison, and get in fighting shape again. It's a hell of a movie.
Yeah, man.
And it's based on a true story.
That's pretty wacky.
I'd really like to read the book.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you checked that out recently.
No, I didn't, but I will get to that when I finish my stack of books that I got going right now.
Alrighty. Well, my number 5 is similar in that it's a story about somebody going through a really difficult time, but a different kind of difficult time, as it were. My number 5 is Boy Erased. I didn't review this, but Joel Edgerton, man, this guy came on the scene with, well, first he was Uncle Owen, in the prequels. And then, he did some other stuff. He was in your Zero Dark 30 here, your Odd Life of Timothy Green there, and stuff like that.
And The Gift.
He directed The Gift, which was really, really good.
Fantastic movie.
And he followed up with this, which is, it's, subject matter aside, it's like, I'm always up for a good true story that's, 1, told accurately, without any frills or without any BS, and 2, going to show me something I didn't really know, or show me a side of humanity I didn't really knew existed.
Right.
And this did that. I was like, wow, I didn't know this is what it was like doing this sort of thing.
Which is this again?
This is about the kid who has to go through the conversion camp in Arkansas. Right. And Joel Edgerton's, he directed it, and he's also like the camp counselor or whatever. Yeah. It's just like really interesting to see, like, I never knew, like, we all have an idea of like how a place like this works, but like to see it depicted and like it's based on the kid who wrote the memoir. Right. It's just interesting. Like, it's an interesting world and interesting experience I've never seen in a film before, and it's one of the better movies I've seen this year.
Right. So basically, that I guess that's another theme is unhappy movies. Seem to be the good ones.
Reflected the year in many ways.
Well, it's interesting you say that because even though my number 4 is not, it's definitely not really an unhappy movie, but it is kind of compared to the other installments in this franchise. I'm giving my number 4 spot just by a hair, just by a tiny, tiny hair. Barely over Prayer Before Dawn, barely over all the honorable mentions. Avengers Infinity War.
Wow.
I thought of all because I decided to compare and contrast the criteria of all 4 or all like 3 or 4 of the superhero movies. I decided it was better than Aquaman just because I was never really bored at any point in Infinity War. And again, it was just a couple scenes in Aquaman, but they were there, and they were noticeable slowdowns.
Sure.
Black Panther, which had a better third act. Come on. Yeah. Infinity War, obviously. So I guess that's really the main reason I had it beat the other, superhero films.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I rewatched it and I thought about it again, and really, like, my only problems that I had. I mean, there's a few of them. They're small and they sort of add up a little, but overall, it's a damn good movie with some really, like Aquaman, some really spectacular action scenes.
Oh yeah, a lot of them.
And again, it's like, yeah, we know that the cliffhanger's kind of bullshit, but I thought it was kind of a cool way to end the movie. In a weird way.
Sure.
I really thought Thanos was also incredibly well done. He looks real, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah, he does.
I think I might have mentioned that when we reviewed it, but it really stood out to me again while I watched it again recently. So that's my number 4.
Alrighty. Well, my number 4 is another movie that I didn't talk about here, but I did see recently. I'm a big history buff, and if there's one aspect of history, specifically American history, that I needed more info on and needed to brush up on, it was the space race, man. First Man. This was a movie I wasn't looking forward to, really. I was like, all right, I feel like I know this story. Neil Armstrong they're going to be like, you can't do it, Neil. You can't land on the moon. And he's going to be like, I'll show you guys. And he lands on the moon, right? Well, there's a little more going on. Like, I didn't know Neil Armstrong's daughter died, like, while he was doing all this shit. And, like, the movie does an interesting job of framing that around him and, like, kind of dealing with, like, how his kids will think they're going to think he's going to fucking die because when he goes to the moon, like, there's a probability he won't come back. And it was really well done. And me being a history buff, like, there was a lot of stuff where I'm like, I didn't know that was probably what, what's his name was really like. Or that was what, what's the guy's name? Buzz Aldrin. Like,
right.
Buzz Aldrin had this kind of personality when he was hanging around, the other two. And, like, I don't know, it was just really interesting to see how this went down. And from what I understand and from what I've read, it's very accurate. Again, accurate. I'll give true story movies this. When they're accurate, the ones I've seen this year are the better ones that I've seen. So this one is an accurate one. So there it be.
Okay.
First Man at number 4.
So number 3 for me, Unsane.
Yeah, wow. Damn.
I really liked Unsane. Like, the more and more I thought about it, it was so many things all at once. Like, you had your psychological thriller, your horror. It was funny, frankly, at a lot of times.
Oh, yeah. Very, very funny.
I know you can say that they attached lenses and all sorts of shit to the iPhone, but it is pretty cool that they made something so shoestring as a budget. And little problems aside, I thought it was a very competently made movie.
So you like this more than Avengers?
Yeah, a little
shit.
bit.
Damn, that's pretty crazy.
Well, I think part of that has to do with the expectation, though. You got to remember that.
Yeah.
And also, one of my reasons for for docking points on Avengers, I guess it's kind of bullshit. I'll admit. It's just a thing. I thought I just like the Rogue Avengers more. So it's like I'm gonna dock points, but I realize that's sort of like a weird nitpicky thing.
Right.
This I just thought was a perfectly constructed story. She's in the insane asylum, and this son of a bitch who's been stalking her is there.
Right.
And it's just ripe for conflict.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's very grounded.
Yeah.
Because there's scenes where she's just sitting there chilling, like, what am I supposed to do? And that scene doesn't feel very tense, but you know what's waiting around the corner, or just waiting for it. You know that the dude is just waiting for the right moment to strike and for shit to go down and things to go south and bodies start piling up. That's what I love about that movie is it's not like other horror movies, and that the danger scenes, so to speak, and the scenes of normalcy are just so separated.
Right.
For instance, when you're watching Child's Play at the very beginning, when you see him getting ready for breakfast, you know Chucky's not there. As soon as she's in that mental health facility, shit could go down at any time. So even the scenes of normalcy, something could go wrong.
Oof.
That's why I love that movie. That was a true Soderbergh movie.
Yeah.
That's the reason I liked it a lot. It really had an auteur feel. So, yeah, I guess I like it a little bit better than Avengers. Just a little bit.
Damn.
I don't know. Maybe. Well, fuck it. It's hard for me to say. It's
Interchangeable, perhaps?
perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
You know, no, fuck it. I'm gonna stick to my guns and saying just a little bit unsane. Just by a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's just nice to see something new or original that was good. Or as far as I know, it wasn't a book or any shit like that.
Yeah. I think it was original.
Yeah, so that's my number 3.
Nice.
How about you?
My number 3 goes to Mission Impossible Fallout. This was a movie, I mean, shit, we've gushed about it. I love this movie, man. I love the Mission Impossible franchise.
Now, did you want to give it an adjusted score?
I guess I forgot that I ended up giving this a perfect score on the podcast. I'd probably drop it to a 9 as a belated adjusted score, but that's not like meaning it sleep or douched on me. It's
What was your tiny, minuscule problem?
I guess it was just like it doesn't stack up against the other two that I would give perfect scores in that franchise, meaning Rogue Nation and Ghost Protocol. When I think about the best in the franchise, I think Rogue Nation, Ghost Protocol, and Fallout. But I think the Ghost Protocol and Rogue Nation are the best. Like, they're neck and neck with each other. And I don't know how close Fallout is to either of them. It's pretty close. It's a lot closer than 3 and 1 and 2, for fuck's sake. Who cares about 2?
Yeah.
But it's not that close. Like, 5 and 4 are still loads better, I'd say. Just in terms of, like, the different kinds of action scenes that you get. Like, that's that diving for the server room, whatever, and, like, Burst Dubai and Sandstorm car chase. It's like, yeah, we've never seen this before.
Okay, so you're saying that even though the action scenes were good, they were a little more bare bones in this.
They're bare bones, yes, but I will admit...
what I mean by that is...
They were more like a car chase.
It was a car chase, and it was a hell of a car chase.
Yeah, one of the best ones ever.
Yeah, it was a fight scene in the bathroom, but
one of the best ones.
Was not just any fight scene in the bathroom; it was the fight scene.
And I'll give Mission Impossible Fallout this too. Best score for me.
Yeah,
year. My
You're
favorite
a big fan
score.
of those drums.
I fucking love the bongos, man.
Yeah.
12 bongoists, if that's a word. But yeah, Mission Impossible Fallout. That's my number 3.
Oof, man. Well, I'm gonna go with at number 2, Thoroughbreds.
Yeah, I was waiting for this one to show up.
Man, oh man, was this good. Mm-hmm. And here's something. I was seeing a lot, how there's a lot of comparisons to Heathers?
Sure.
I kind of think that's horse shit because this was, the only thing it had in common was high school kids planning murders of some sorts. That's almost unfair to kind of, it's a mix of this and this. No, it's kind of its own thing. Mm-hmm. If anything, any point of comparison, I guess you could say Rope, maybe.
Yeah.
Slightly. But even then, it's not really the same thing. It's just, this proves you don't need a whole lot to tell a good story. Mm-hmm. Even more so stripped down than Unsane. Well, minus the fact that this probably had a normal camera rather than an iPhone. Mm-hmm. But it just, what stuck with me is performances. The performances were so strong in this, and probably stronger than any movie on my list. Damn. Without question. Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah, man.
Did I say her name right?
That is it.
Yes! Okay, Anya Taylor-Joy and Olivia Cook nailed it. Mm-hmm. Especially Olivia Cook.
Damn. I gotta check this one out for sure then.
It was an amazing movie. It's just one of those things where the execution was perfect, the payoff was perfect, the cinematography was really good. It's just, it had the whole package.
Damn.
So that's my number 2 of the year.
Well, my number 2 is the one that may surprise you.
What's that?
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is my second favorite movie of the year.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of good things about it. Don't say any shit.
I won't.
I'm gonna see this.
See, I haven't said any, and that's why I've been playing it very cool. But all I'll say is this: it's the biggest swing with the best result I've seen this year. So by that I mean, like, this movie has a lot going on, and there's a lot, it's a big swing. It's like, so it's Spider-Man, right? But there's like 5 different other Spider-Mans, and also Kingpin's there, and also other stuff's going on, and also it's a commentary on Spider-Man culture and like what Spider-Man means to like the audience, like us as comic book fans, and I'm like, on paper, me walking before seeing this movie, I would have been like, that sounds like a fucking mess.
Yeah.
They make it work. That's all I'll say.
They make it work. Okay.
They make it work.
All right.
It's definitely... I'm a simple man. Walk into an animated movie, I expect two good things. Tell me an interesting story, make it look good.
All right.
Fuck me, they did both well.
Okay, so it looks pretty good.
Yes.
We'll probably review that.
Yeah. At some point.
Once I see it.
I'll have it fresh in my head because I'll probably have seen it a second time.
All right. My number one movie of the year.
Oh boy.
I don't know. Should I just score?
I already know what it is. Let's just gush because I already mentioned it.
All right, my number one of the year is Mission Impossible Fallout.
Bongos.
You know what? I think your point is true about what I'd called the stripped down scenes. Mm-hmm. It's not as colorful as the other two, but to me, because as we had just discussed, the execution is that good. Mm-hmm. I'm sticking with my perfect score.
I don't blame you.
It was to me the movie did everything right. It did everything that it could have asked out of it.
There were a lot of movies I walked into this year. I was like, this better be good. And I was like, it was okay. This better be good. And I was all right. This one, I was like, this better be good. And I was like, yeah, it was fucking
holy
good.
Shit, that was good.
Exactly. And I laud it there. It fucking did that. And Christopher McQuarrie is the man.
I think it's also 4 and 5 are just they're so good. It's hard to even come close to that.
Yeah. The fact that it did is a feat.
To me, honestly, it's not that much of a shot off, and it's only that tiny point that makes it not as good. Mm-hmm. But that didn't affect the overall quality. That's only in comparison to the other two.
Right.
And I'm the other way around because you like 5 best, right?
Yeah, I'd have to watch it again, but for now, 5.
I think 4. I think 4 is the best. 5 is a close second, and 6 is just nearly as close third. Mm-hmm. I guess if there's any like problems I had, but I mean, it's like we talked about this before.
Not enough Vanessa Kirby.
Yeah, not enough Vanessa Kirby, but honestly, I don't know really how much more they could have had of her in it. Mm-hmm. I think it was more one of those things like you were thirsting to see more of that character. Yeah. Rather than, they needed to have her in this particular installment more. Right. Similar to Black Manta. Yeah. I think he was there for what he needed to do. I'm definitely looking forward to more. Mm-hmm. And, of course, we'll see Vanessa Kirby in Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah. That'll be fun.
So, I don't know. It's just, this was an action movie. Plain and simple, even though it is a big franchise movie. That's kind of something that I found refreshing, honestly. Mm-hmm. It was sort of a throwback to just 90s action movies. Mm-hmm. You just have a warehouse or a street, but you do some really badass things on that warehouse or that street. Mm-hmm. You have a really great motorcycle chase. You have an unbelievably insane fight in the bathroom.
You have a helicopter chase scene.
The helicopter chase, come on.
Right.
And I'm sorry, you suck if you don't like that helicopter chase. No, it's that was awesome.
Oh man, there's no other way to end that movie.
The way that the word I'd use to describe that helicopter chase is relentless. Mm-hmm. It's not just, keep a close eye on him. No, fuck that. I'm going to get him. I'm going to crash into him, and I'm still going to chase him. He's going down the cliff. I'm going to chase him down the cliff. Yeah. It's just, it does not stop, and I loved it. I mean, that's how an action movie should be. So now we move on to your top movie of the year, Robert. So what was it?
For my favorite, it was, I kind of told already what it was earlier. I think I said it in my review of this, where I'm like, I don't know if this is going to be better than this. I don't know if I'm going to see a movie better than this, but Won't You Be My Neighbor?
Oh, is that your number one?
Yeah, that's the number one. I don't know if you know this. The world sucks. It doesn't matter why. Talk to anybody right now, and you ask them how things are going. They're like, I'm not really happy with the way things are. But it's like, God damn it, we need a little Fred in our lives to be like, but wait a second, people don't suck. Yeah. It's like, what if we just got to change our attitudes and like be nice, like at some points, like try and like raise our kids to like not beat the shit out of each other with words for once. Fred, man, like this is. I don't know what else to say. Like, Fred, like, he just... He made me cry. Damn it! I feel like such a wimp, but like I cried like 3 times this movie. I don't cry in movies. Like everyone's like, oh, I cried during the Killmonger scene in Black Panther. It's like, yeah, it's sad, but like this is like, God damn it! I grew up with Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Like
I cried during Minority Report because it was so boring.
I cried during Alexander because I fell asleep and someone stole my wallet.
I should have cried at the end of Alexander. I'm like, finally, it's over. Holy shit, that movie was terrible. But anyway.
There's something like so disarming about Fred. It's just like, wait a second, like this guy's like really nice and he doesn't like want anything from anybody, like other than to just like know that he's being nice. Like it's just, there's something about that where like we live in such a shitty place where like this guy can't be for real. But like, no man, he was the real deal. And it's the best, like I gotta give it number 1 because it's the best of any of its genre. Like this is the best documentary I've seen.
Yeah.
So like, fuck, I gotta give it credit there. And I don't think
I
I'll
don't know,
say
man.
better.
Have you seen Baby Snakes?
No.
The Frank Zappa one?
No.
It'd be hard. No, I'm kidding, but
I gotta watch more band documentary movies though. That is true, but
no, but Baby Snakes is not just any band documentary. But anyway, go back to Mr. Rogers.
well, I mean, a lot of these documentary movies they're all about shock value.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of them are. A lot of them are about bringing subject matter to your attention that you don't know, or scaring you, shocking you, being like, you didn't know about this. I bet you feel bad now.
Let me edit it in this order so that you believe this.
Yeah, like giving you a specific point of view or worldview or take, that's been kind of manufactured by the filmmaker, which in some cases works and whatever. But this was like the opposite. It's just like, we're just going to show you like this person and like there isn't really anything bad about him. And you're going to make that judgment as you watch the movie. But we're laying Fred's cards out on the table. Didn't really have anything. It wasn't trying to scare you. There was a call to action, like how would Fred want you to act in a world like we live like today?
Yeah.
But no, it's not real preachy either. It's just like, I mean, if you call like some guy saying be nice to each other preachy, it's just like, yeah, I guess that's kind of a no-brainer. Like, don't be a dick type shit. But I love this movie, and it's I said this before. Like, I don't know who I was telling, but like, I just got this movie for Christmas. Anybody who I know that hasn't seen it, like, fucking ask me and I'll let you borrow it.
Yo, right here.
Yeah, I'll let you fucking borrow it, dude. Like, I'll let you borrow it. Like, it's worth a watch. Yeah. It's good shit.
I was a fan of the Fredster when I was a youngin'.
Yeah, man, he's the man, and he should be celebrated.
All right, cool. So that does it for 2018. It was a year that we found some bright spots where we could.
But it could have been better.
It could have been better, but I think the interesting thing is we found it in a lot of places we maybe weren't expecting to find it in.
Yeah.
I think I saw a trailer for Thoroughbreds maybe a month before it came out, maybe. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't remember knowing about it for very long. Unsane was...
Jeez.
That also kind of appeared out of nowhere.
I only knew the title of that movie,
right?
Like, for a couple weeks before the movie came out, and the trailer, too, like, was sprung out of nowhere.
And some I knew about for a very long time had to wait way too goddamn long.
Right.
It was in...
A24?
Yeah, A24, man. Keep doing your thing. STX, please stop. Oh, Peppermint was my honorable mention for shittiest list.
Yeesh.
Good. Well, because it was a 1 out of 2 bombs.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was shitty, but not in the right way. So I guess that does it for 2018. Any parting words for this year?
2018, we're done. It was good working with you, but get the fuck out. It's time for 2019 to come in and suck next.
All right, cool. So out with the old and in with the new. We now are going to do our top anticipated movies of 2019. Robert, why don't you go first? As we will be doing this in chronological order.
Kicking off the year, we have Glass coming up pretty soon. I know this movie has fallen off a little bit for you because just human nature setting in, and it might not look as,
I'm just, 2018 has taught me to be weary.
Yeah. Good human doubt has set in.
Yeah.
Which is probably a safe bet, but I'm too much of a fan of the prior two, what do you call it? Glass or /split/unbreakable predecessors to not be excited. I love Split and I love Unbreakable, so I'm down to see Glass. I think it looks pretty cool.
Well, I still need to see Split, which I wanted to see. I'm admittedly not a big fan of Unbreakable at all. I don't know. I just don't know what to make of this movie, because at first I thought it looked kind of cool, but then the more I saw trailers, the less interested I was becoming. And then January just never helps.
Yeah.
But Split came out in January, and
it did.
It was apparently pretty good. So that's, I won't have to wait long.
No, a couple weeks.
We'll see. Okay, so my first movie of the year that I'm really hotly anticipating is Happy Death Day to You. As we've mentioned before, it looks like they're adding some new elements, a little bit more sci-fi stuff to this. And I just like that they're making a sequel to something that, while a derivative ripoff of certain things, is for the most part original.
Right.
So, yeah, that's what I got first, Happy Death Day to You.
The next one down my list is all the way in April. Shazam. That is my next most anticipated, at least the next appearance on the list. Shazam, yeah. I mean, we already talked about how much we liked Aquaman.
Right.
DC's got a good track record with solo flicks.
Yeah, that seems to be the pattern, that they're, as we mentioned before, in our books, 3 for 3 on the solos, and for lack of a better word, if you look at the scores in absolutes,
0 for 3.
0 for 3 in the team-ups.
And Shazam looks pretty good. Trailers look fun. I'm excited.
It's big with superheroes. It's a cool concept.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess I'll be throwing it back slightly to March. I got Captain Marvel. Now, I know that some people have seen the trailers, and I think you actually had said this sentiment too. I've heard a couple times that they're not getting a lot out of the character, at least for what they've shown so far. I'm not really worried about that. I mean, Marvel, as we've said, it's on a barely, kind of, sort of, slight, minuscule decline a little bit.
Right.
But, I mean, things can happen. Because remember, 2013 was kind of a weaker year. In fact, it was really weak. It was Dark World and Iron Man 3.
Right.
And then next year they knocked it out of the park with Winter Soldier and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, they did.
So maybe this will be a year for reinvention. So I'm hoping this movie will do so. I'm excited for this.
Cool. Well, speaking of Marvel, the next one on my list is Avengers Endgame.
Right.
That would be probably one of the bigger events of the year. I mean, does this need to be explained? It's like, it's the part 2, essentially, to the story that we got in Infinity War, in a way. It's
part 2 to the 20th movie.
Yeah. And it's a big movie. And it's going to be I feel like it'll be better than Infinity War. You know, it'll give us the ending we wanted Infinity War to have.
See, that's kind of what I was thinking. Is it seems like people just with Marvel movies weren't used to the unresolved sort of ending. So maybe this will, I guess, give that movie closure, or whatever the fuck you want to say.
I think it will.
It seems pretty obvious. I got Beach Bum on here.
Oh boy.
I don't know what the hell it is with this guy. I still don't understand if I hate Spring Breakers or think it's amazing.
Good old Harmony Korine.
I don't get it, man. He's dragging me down. He's dragging me into one of these again. I didn't see Spring Breakers in theaters. But as I said, I still don't know about that one. And this kind of looks like it's a little more directly comedic.
Yeah.
So, keeping in mind his style, with a tad of tongue-in-cheek, kind of sounds perfect in my book. I you know what, I'll say this. I doubt I'll leave that theater completely disappointed, or at the very least without having felt like I had an experience in the theater. An interesting theater-going experience. That's what I'm expecting out of it, and I think I'll get that.
The next one on my list is John Wick 3 Parabellum.
Man.
Yeah, this is, I mean, what else is there to say? This is an event movie in a sense, you know?
Well, but this is an event movie. It's one of the few original that started off as an original. So
Yes.
I don't really consider this a sequel in the same way that other things are sequels.
Right.
This isn't based on anything, so it's nice that we're getting new franchises that are new.
Mm-hmm.
To me, this is a new franchise. What, the first one was 2013 or something?
They're about 2013 or 14.
2013 or 14, yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's great that we're continuing something that's new. And
New, original, well done.
and it was, criminally underrated. I think both of them, and they both deserved more financial success than they got. Hopefully, this third one will make way more money than either of the first two, as it deserves plenty more than the first two made.
I think it will. I got a good feeling about it, but all I know for sure is that I'll be along for the ride no matter what happens.
Yeah. See the images with
He's on a horse. With Angelica Houston.
Angelica Houston and Halle Berry. She's got the dogs and shit.
Yeah, they're in a desert.
I'm excited.
I'm intrigued. Let's go.
We got horses. We got some deserts.
A lot of four-legged creatures.
Yeah, and there's still plenty to explore with the origins of the Assassin Guild. Mm-hmm. So we got some good stuff. I also had Shazam. I also had Avengers. It's a 10-year culmination. I know we just talked about it, but still, Jesus.
Yeah, man.
This is going to be something. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm curbing my expectations just a little bit. Just because Infinity War, while it was still very good, I wanted a little more out of it. And I'm pretty hopeful that maybe this will deliver on that front. Mm-hmm. And it seems like it will be focusing on some of the Rogue Avengers.
Right.
Because we got
some Ronin, got some more of Cap, some more of Black Widow.
More Cap, more Black Widow. War Machine survived the snap, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. War Machine. Those are like the best characters in my mind. Mm-hmm. Sucks that Falcon didn't make it.
Yeah, damn it.
That was the one Rogue Avenger I was really sad to see in the snap, but he'll probably be back.
And
M'Baku.
He's alive, right?
I don't know. I can't remember.
I think he might be. But who knows if he'll be featured.
I just remember most of the Black Panther people were dead.
Yeah, I know Black Panther died.
No, I think you're... I don't know.
Shuri died. I know because we see that in the trailer.
Yeah. M'Baku, I think you're right.
M'Baku's alive.
I think he's alive. So, if you got Cap, Widow, War Machine, M'Baku, that's a pretty badass team right there. Mm-hmm. I can mess with that.
Same.
Yeah.
Moving on. We have... Oh, wait, what else do you have? John Wick.
John Wick, which I also have.
Oh, man.
That's tied for first for my most anticipated of the year.
It's tied.
Yeah, I've got one, man.
You got one more?
Yeah. It's tied for first for most anticipated. Because, again, Endgame, technically speaking, it should be, but I had to curb my expectations ever so slightly just because of Infinity War. Mm-hmm. However, with John Wick 3, I have extremely high expectations, and I'm expecting it to at least be on the level of 2. So then next, I've got, after John Wick, which I'm extremely excited for, Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
That's on mine as well, yeah.
We've got some magnificent nightmare visions.
We got not just one monster, not just two monsters. We got Godzilla, we got some Ghidorah, we got some Mothra and Rodan.
Yeah,
oh boy,
some shit's going down, and by that I mean buildings and stuff.
And the White House and tornadoes and fire tornadoes and shit.
That's what I mean. It's like the monsters and all the... They're literally creating a crazy shitstorm.
Yeah.
It's really going to be something.
Too, really.
You got Vera Farmiga's in this, right?
Yeah, Vera Farmiga.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of her.
Kyle Chandler.
I'm a fan of... Man, Kyle Chandler.
Pulling it out.
I like it. I like this cast. It's very not your uber typical. Mm-hmm. I like what I'm hearing.
Right.
Let's see. So yeah, Godzilla King of the Monsters is going to be pretty awesome. What else you got?
I got a movie on here called... This one might not appear on many people's lists. It's called Ad Astra.
Okay.
So what this is about is I'll read the official plot synopsis or logline. 20 years after his father left on a one-way mission to Neptune in order to find signs of extraterrestrial intelligence, Roy McBride, an Army Corps engineer, travels through the solar system to find him and understand why his mission failed. Brad Pitt's in this. Tommy Lee Jones is in this. Ruth Nega's in this. Donald Sutherland is in this. It's directed by James Gray, who I haven't seen any of his movies, but all of his movies have done pretty well. But let's give it up for Neptune, guys. That planet doesn't get enough love. It's blue. It's pretty cool looking. Like, let's go. Like, I'm good for a good space adventure.
And perhaps there's some extraterrestrial life on Neptune.
Let's get, here's another one. The DP who did this is the guy who shot Interstellar.
Okay.
Not that matters so much, but the dude is really...
That helps.
It helps, and he's the guy's really careful with what he chooses project-wise. So, the guy knows how to shoot space, so let's fucking go. I want a head trip movie. Yeah,
this is definitely... I didn't have this on my top 10 list, but this is something I have on my overall list that I'm looking forward to. I just gotta see a trailer, though.
Yeah, me too.
Before I can really decide that this is something I'm super anticipating.
And then my next one was Godzilla also.
Okay. So my next one, well, I guess I'm a huge hypocrite because my next one is another one of those where there is no trailer. But damn it, on paper, this just sounds much too good to be true. And I'm talking about Stuber. If you'd like to pull up the synopsis.
Well, for Stuber, there are a couple big names in this that you may recognize. First of all, it stars Kumail Nanjiani, who you may know as, he's in a lot of stuff. Silicon Valley. He was on, what do you call it? He wrote that movie, The Big Sick. He's a really talented comic. He's got a really distinct voice. But it's him and Dave Bautista. And it's about a mild-mannered Uber driver named Stu, who picks up a grizzled detective who is hot on the trail of a sadistic, bloodthirsty terrorist. They find themselves thrust into a harrowing ordeal where they have to keep their wits, keep themselves unharmed, and work together while maintaining a high-class rating as an Uber driver. So this has also got Iko Uwais in it.
Man, see, there you go.
And Jimmy Tatro.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So that cast alone... man, it's just, please don't pull a mile 22. Please don't pull a mile 22. This sounds so good on paper. And Iko Uwais, man, he hasn't had his big break, his huge break he deserves.
We need a good regular comedy.
Yeah.
This could be that. This has action elements.
Yeah, but that's another thing. It's like they're look it up, people playing at home. Look up how many regular comedies there are. Like Thor Ragnarok does not count. Dramedies, I'm saying not counting in this case. I'm saying regular ass comedies. I'm hoping this is the one to maybe convince studios that, hey, you can make these and people want to see them if they're good, of course.
Right.
I have really high hopes for this. I'm hoping that when we see a trailer, I still have high hopes.
Same.
So what do you got left?
This will be a surprise. My next one is Rocket Man. And that's purely because I'm just fucking like Elton John, man. Like, goddamn it. This is going to be my Bohemian Rhapsody for the year.
Okay.
Where people are like, I just want to see it because of the music. I'm like, yeah, Queen's really, really good, but like, Elton John was just one dude. Yeah, he had a co-writer, but so? Like, let's fucking do it. Also, Taron Egerton's also, like, actually fucking singing. Like, I'm sorry, Rami Malek. Like, that wasn't you singing. I'm not that impressed. Like, get up there and fucking actually sing.
Yeah.
So, like, what the hell?
I'm just kind of done with band movies. I don't know. I just don't think they're very interesting.
But that's good news, though, because there's no band.
Okay. Like, singer movies.
I know.
God. Why I oughta...
Oh, you.
Yeah, straight to the moon. Well, so I guess that's your pick. I got Hobbs and Shaw next.
Yeah.
When you get The Rock in something good, it's like,
Let's see it.
Having your cake and eating it too. You're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting The Rock being awesome, but in something good. That's the way it should be, because I think everyone likes The Rock.
Yeah.
But it's no secret that sometimes he chooses to be in things that are not so great.
And even though they somehow still do good.
Yeah. that seems to be the case. But, I mean, I'm anticipating this for a lot of reasons. I feel like, for one, this will be David Leitch sort of back in his element, in a way.
I agree. More pugilism-focused.
Yeah. I would say as a director.
Yeah, no superheroes.
Yeah. I mean, I know he's done stunt coordination on superhero movies, but I'm talking straight up directing. So he's back to his regular punch, shoot, explosion, drive car action movie. Vanessa Kirby, that always helps.
Yes. Hopefully more of her in this than we got in Fallout.
Yeah, because, again, criminally underutilized in that. Maybe for the best, who knows?
Perhaps.
I mean, it's just one of those things. So, I think it seems like she'll have a much larger part in. I don't know. So, I don't know. I'm just also curious to know how this is going to work.
Yeah.
Are they going to make more of this type of spin-off?
Are we ever going to get Fast and Furious 9? Is this feud going to stop?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions, but I feel like if this is good, this will keep me patient in the meantime. Honestly, if this was the last one and it's amazing, I wouldn't mind the series being done. It's like, what the fuck else are they going to... I told you, they've only got one thing left. Monster trucks and On the Moon.
Yeah. Where's the rocket going to be, man?
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. All right, so what's your next one?
My next one is Spider-Man Far From Home. There's not much else I have to say here other than Mysterio. That's the only reason why. He's like probably my favorite Spider-Man villain beyond like the main ones. Like, you know, your Doc Ocks and your Green Goblins. Mysterio's like just the best. Him and Kraven the Hunter are probably tied for my favorite.
Yeah.
And Jake Gyllenhaal's one of my favorite actors working today. So let's do it. Even if I wasn't the biggest fan of Homecoming, I feel like this could be pretty decent. Still got to see a trailer, though.
See, that's my problem is I thought Homecoming was pretty not great. I don't. It's hard for me to get super excited about this, but I agree with you. Mysterio's that prospect does make me a little more excited than some of the other choices they could have done. So I guess there's that. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see for the trailer. So that's that for... is that all for yours? Or do you got one more?
I got 3 more.
Oh, okay. So I'll go with... You know what? I'll add my honorable mention as one since we had a couple doubles. So this is the other one tied for first place for most anticipated. It Chapter 2.
Oh, wow.
Man, am I excited for this because I absolutely loved the first one. It was a lot of things. It was a really good adaptation with a slightly different take.
More modern than the book.
Yeah, it was 80s rather than 50s. Let's see. I don't know what the fuck else. Oh, it was a good horror movie.
Yeah, for sure. But well acted, good kid acting, good acting from Bill Skarsgård, well directed. That's
what I mean. That there was a lot that I like about the first one, and I read the book in the time since watching the first movie, and that has only made me more excited because there's really the book is so big. It's 1,054 pages or something crazy like that.
Damn.
But I sped through that shit in like a month. Point being, there's so much from the book that hasn't been explored yet. And I know they can't cover all of it, but I'm excited to see how they cover really any of it, which I know is kind of crazy. So, It Chapter 2, I'm very excited about, and that's tied for first place for most anticipated for me.
My next one is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Now, Tarantino can wane between making really, really dope movies and movies that are just fine. This seems like it's going to be a return to him making really good movies. It's got a lot of wild stuff in it, but it takes place in Los Angeles in the late 60s, which seems like, I mean, like Tarantino should have probably been born like 40 years before then so he could exist then. Like the dude's just so old-fashioned in how he makes movies. Throw in Charlie Manson, throw in Bruce Lee, throw in a bunch of other weird stars, Steve McQueen. It's like, what is this movie going to be? And I can't wait to see what it ends up being. Great, amazing cast, too. DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, Bruce Dern. I mean, Jesus. Damian Lewis. Just a lot of people in this. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it's basically covering all the bases of the 60s.
Yeah.
Movie stars, you got martial artists, you got everything.
Pretty much.
Okay, so I'll add this honorable mention since we had a bunch of doubles. Joker.
I'll that was in my next one, and I'll let you know right now. That is my most anticipated movie of next year.
My most. Number one.
Because it's the one I know the least about, and I'm so damn intrigued by everything I've seen.
I think it's the fact that you took a movie that on paper at first, to me, sounded so stupid, but then you do things like Scorsese is producing.
You got the guy who wrote The Fighter and 8 Mile writing it. You got Joaquin, you got De Niro, you got Zazie Beetz.
That's what I mean.
What is this?
You bring in everything after the fact of what we're initially told. Mm-hmm. After the fact, I like everything I've been hearing so far.
Mm-hmm. And seeing.
Yeah, I know it's like I hate being the guy who looks at set photos, but damn it, they're everywhere. It was hard not to see. So I'm very excited about this just to see this is really. You're right. This has the most mystery to it. Mm-hmm. Even with all that we've seen, what is their take really?
Who knows?
Who the hell else is going to be in this?
What is this based on?
What is this based on? Where's the? Well, come on. They're always thinking sequels.
Yeah.
Where is this going?
What are the copycat movies are going to be like if this does well? You know, like it's just the implications of it, and I don't know. I'm excited whenever I think about the possibilities with this.
Right. This will be an interesting, probably melding of different worlds. Mm-hmm. You know, it seems like the obvious one is gangster movies meet Batman movies.
Right.
So that'll be interesting. Mm-hmm. So it looks like 2019, although my list for the whole year is a bit scarce, mm-hmm. I think there's definitely some standouts here.
Yeah, there's some. There's also some upsetting trends that we didn't mention in some of the movies that we didn't have on our anticipated lists. Like we talked about, like June. Is it June that has?
Yeah, well, June it kind of is a microcosm of a lot of things I think is wrong. Mm-hmm. So when you have John Wick 3, I think that's a perfectly fine thing to make a sequel to. Mm-hmm. You left the story open. In fact, 2 has a cliffhanger ending. Mm-hmm. And it's an original idea and whatnot. So they're striking while the iron's hot. You can't blame them. Toy Story 3, it seemed to me like, well, that's life. Got to move on. All right, great. So let's move on from this franchise. It's done. But nope, let's make 4. Just kidding. And I'm just sitting here thinking, fuck you, okay? I'm not going. I'm done. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we've talked about this on end. The fact that they're making a remake of Child's Play while Don Mancini is still working on his original series, the movie series, which will now be a mini-series for this, I guess, 8th installment.
Right.
That is just so unbelievably ludicrous that such a scenario can even happen.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the lengths they're going to keep things going. It's getting ridiculous.
Well, hopefully hopefully the year has a gross overall reaction of being better than 2018, but who knows?
Hopefully. I'm also hoping that we catch wind of some more originals out there.
Yeah, maybe.
As much as I like an Avengers 4 or John Wick 3, come on, guys, can we get something like E.T. ever again?
Yeah.
Just one.
A lot of the quarter 3 and 4 schedules are super open. Like a lot of the movies that ended up being my favorites for this year, I didn't even know the title of.
Yeah.
You know, or at this point. So who knows? There could be a lot, or not even could be. There will be a lot of surprises in store for 2019. Hopefully good ones.
Hopefully good ones, and hopefully they make indie movies a little more readily available.
Right.
All right, so anything else?
No, I think that'll about do it for my 2019 list, and yours as well, I assume.
Yes, that will do it for both of our lists. Thanks for listening to episode 36, Bonus Features with Alex and Robert. You can find us at all our social medias, including
Facebook, YouTube, and SoundCloud at Bonus Features with Alex and Robert.
So we look forward to this new year and bringing you all some more news, reviews, and discussions. So see you next time.